Hello, Roftwood. It's me, Zombie GG with the Roftwood Coordination Center, proudly presenting you with another post-apocalyptic production I like to call an RCC Fireside Chat. This episode kicks off a fresh new series with Frank Byrne, a seasoned veteran in Malton and longtime member of the Soldiers of Crossman Pro Survivor group. But before I continue, I would like to share with you all an important piece of recent news in this Urban Dead game and community. My longtime rival Lord Moloch, leader of the infamous Ridley Bank Resistance Front's Gore Corps Necro-Terrorist unit, has retired. This player has brought a ton of fun and horror to Roftwood for a long time, earning the title RCC Public Enemy No. 1 as well as being my personal all-time arch nemesis. His retirement comes to us local Roftwood Pro survivors with bitter sweetness. The sweet is we hope to breathe better in our beloved suburb. The bitter is we will no doubt miss the action Lord Moloch routinely brings to our doorstep, as well as his amazing narratives and ability to keep so many folks on both sides of the battlefield logging in and having fun in the most strategically murderous manner Malton offers. Lord Moloch takes his seat on the bench after spearheading one hell of a final strike on my dear Roftwood. In the space of 2 hours on Halloween night this past October 31st, 2019, an alliance of Signok, the Flowers of Decay, and the RF's Constables and Gore Corps squads all together conducted a mega assault and turned Roftwood into a virtual wasteland. These folks claimed 60 confirmed kills against our faction, with the Gore Corps alone claiming 24. Our Legis General Hospital was most humiliatingly pinated. The Herbert Necrotech Building, Maiden Auto Repair, and the ever-so-populated St. Ethelbert's Hospital and Hildebrand Mall were all cleared of life and all brought down to ruins. Lord Moloch, if you're listening, I have this for you. You've shown me the standards for honorable play in this game. You've shown me the importance of a good narrative for running a fun operation. Your name sends ice-cold shivers down the RCC. You're my favorite arch-nemesis, and it's been awesome being humbled by you, and working against you, and I look forward to the time we meet again. Alright folks, I just needed to share that before I kick off this fun new series I've just finished with my buddy and great ally, Frank Byrne, long-timer with the Soldiers of Crossman Pro Survivor group, and a fundamental force in helping Roftwood recover after Lord Moloch's last hurrah. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello Roftwood, it's Zombie GG, and today I have a very special guest with me, Frank Byrne, an old school member of the Soldiers of Crossman Pro Survivor group. So Frank, how did you come into the Soldiers of Crossman?
I believe it was at the beginning of 2009 when I was soloing my character Frank Byrne at the time, which was my secondary character. And the point of it was to roleplay as a firefighter in a zombie apocalypse. But then I ran into this building that was under siege and met Cortona, which was one of the co-creators of the Soldiers of Crossman, and she recruited me into the ranks and sent me packing and going up to Darwell Heights and to join the rest of the gang there.
So did she just like talk to you in game and invite you to like a forum? Like when was this, like 2008, 2009 or something?
Well, I created Frank in 2008, December I think, and I believe it was around February in 2009 that I got recruited. And
how do you even recruit people back then? I'm trying to remember. Like I played, it was like forums, like pro boards and Zeta boards and stuff like that. How did you get recruited?
Yeah, well, we didn't have that kind of stuff back then. We operated only in game, mostly because the group was so new at that time that we hadn't had the opportunity. Well, they didn't have the opportunity to create anything like that. So me and Cortona just ended up in the same building, and the funny thing is that the zombies took the building out, and both of us had to flee. And I noticed when I logged back in Urban Dead that right before the break-in, she had asked me if I was interested in joining a group, and I, by just a random chance, ended up in the same building after the break-in with Cortona. So I asked her about what this group was, and They said, well, go to the Crossman Grove department, police department in Darwood Heights and find out.
So the Soldiers of Crossman are just like a gang of folks that kind of started in game, just recruiting local players and sending them to the Crossman Police Department. I'm trying to bring up a map right now. Where we are, Darville Heights. Yeah, there it is, Crossman Grove Police Department. It's like northeast of Kyger Mall by just a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't think that was. Well, maybe that was her tactic. We didn't recruit that many new players back then. Maybe 2 or 3, with me included. It was later on when we actually made the time to create a wiki page and then also start our forum. Then at that point we started to create a hierarchy within our group and also put people in charge of recruitment and stuff like that.
Wow, so you were like there on the very beginning before you even made it to the wiki.
Yeah, and I must say that was probably some of the most fun I've had in Urban Dead, when you play it pretty dark, that you don't have the comfort of the meta communication outside of the game. You must rely on people there and then and ask them, where should I go if things go south and stuff like that. To be honest, I think that we have sort of lost some of that charm in Urban Dead when we have introduced the meta community, even though the meta community obviously allows us for a lot of other things that are also pretty awesome. So it's a give or take, but I do sometimes think back and think that maybe it would be fun to go dark again and
go dark.
Just create a group and just do everything in game.
Yeah, for me, I get like a type of extra kind of excited when I log in and there's like text to read, because text is almost like a special kind of thing, you know, because it costs a whole point to do it, like a whole action point, so it's like a half hour, and like for someone to drop text, it's just exciting. It's something out of the ordinary.
It's underestimated. More people should drop text. I mean, sure, it's not effective, but it's what makes the game fun in the end.
You said you made Frank Burn originally to RP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think text is a like powerful tool, if not say weapon. The Malton medical staff, who's like an old school Roftwood pro survivor group, I think a fundamental piece of why they're still around today in 2019 is the fact that they heavily rely, their primary weapon is like text. They love to just RP, and that just keeps people logging in, and it keeps the game fun. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I started my climb to power in the SoC by becoming the one who was in charge of the ambassadorial stuff and recruitment. So
a lot of text in game.
A lot of text. I mean, I probably spent most RP talking to people than I did actually fighting zombies at that time.
Yeah, Sunflower of the Malton medical staff, one of his primary objectives is to just go outside and find fresh survivors and just like direct them where the closest entry point is, which is generally in Roftwood, St. Ethelbert's Hospital, which is like the hive of the Malton medical staff. So I don't know, I guess he's kind of a recruiter too when he does that, but it's just exciting for people.
Make an impression. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. Sometimes when we are in a situation where we need to conserve our AP, then obviously we have always told our members to use them wisely. But at the same time, we're here to have fun, all of us. So if numbers are your fun, then go for it, obviously. But I personally prefer the human interaction in the game rather than the numbers in them.
That's super cool. Do you have any kind of special things that you like to RP? Like, I know Lostfire, the head administrator of the Malton medical staff, she has this wombat that obviously doesn't actually exist in game, but it's the source of a great deal of humor in AP. I do cooking stuff in game. Like, obviously you can't cook in game, but a good share of my text goes into when I kill zombies. I like to kind of cook them up and share them in all kinds of different kinds of meals for the survivors, you know, get something warm in their stomach, freshly hunted.
Sound morbid as hell.
How else you can, I don't know, man, I just look for funny things that...
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of RP special tool?
Well, the thing is with Frank was that the original idea was to RP, but as soon as I joined Soldiers of Crossman, it sort of, that part sort of faded away a little, and it became more of a me as a person behind the character taking over the character, and so sort of becoming a sort of mixture between him and myself. And the role-playing aspect of Frank sort of died off there, because you can't be a part of a group that is focused on being effective and putting a lot of time into wasting resources on role-playing. Even though we obviously, as soon as people come to us and want to join us and tell us that they want to role-play a certain type of person, then of course we want people to be free to do it their way, as long as it goes together with our way.
Do you remember Ron Burgundy back in the day from the Channel 4 news team? You're an old
Yeah,
head.
yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, that guy inspired me. I played twice. I played this game once from 2006 to 2008, so we might have just missed each other. And then I took a break forever until like a couple years ago in 2017. And I used to play in dial-up. Did you have a smartphone in 2008? I didn't have. There weren't smartphones when I first played. I had to go to computers. The IP address thing was like real.
2008. That was probably around the time when the smartphone started to pop up.
Yeah, and that literally made Urban Dead a portable game. Instead, I used to have to like sneak into computer labs on my bathroom breaks in high school. I'd sign out to the bathroom and I'd run into the computer lab real quick and log on Urban Dead and bump the barricades up or something. Check out the forum.
I have actually never played Urban Dead on my smartphone, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, I probably play 50-50, honestly. Half on my smartphone and half on my laptop. You just don't have... Do you even have Discord on your smartphone, or are you just completely Urban Dead free on your smartphone?
I'm completely Urban Dead free on my smartphone.
Part of me is jealous,
I do sometimes get email notifications of messages you have missed, but I usually just scroll past.
Yeah, you're super old school. I got hooked again because I thought it was so cool being able to just play Urban Dead on the fly. But you literally started like with the Soldiers of Crossman before any kind of meta. You call it going dark. I like that phrase. When you're totally in game.
Well, there was obviously a meta community and all that, but at that time we didn't have it. I think that the former groups of Soldiers of Crossman, Liberation of Crossman Department and Crossman Defense Force, I think they were called, they probably had some form of meta, but they hadn't really managed to get that shit together when I joined. So
was there one founder?
There were two co-founders. The first one was Cortona and the second was Sodrombus. And both of these were former leaders of the groups that came before Soldiers of Crossman, which was LCD and CDF. When I joined, there was maybe 10 other members, and all of them were old members from these other groups. So there was a joint leadership between Cortona from LCD and Sod from Crossman Defense Force CDF. However, it became pretty clear pretty quickly that Cortona was the driving force, and Sod sort of took a more passive role in the leadership.
I'm on the Soldiers of Crossman wiki page right now, and Cortana has like the opening paragraph. Co-founder and current platoon leader, 2009. Does she still play?
No, I don't think so. I want to remember that she
It's literally 10 years ago. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. I believe that she dropped by a forum maybe 3 years ago or something like that.
You remember her impact though, huh? She really was like a pivotal player in getting this whole group started.
Well, the thing is that if she would return, I would be gladly to see her as the platoon leader again, as the officer, because back when we started the officer system, this was maybe around 2010 sometimes, around that. Before that, we had pretty much just Cortona being the single one leader for the group.
Well, you're small enough where that was effective, but then as you get bigger, you need to start dividing, I imagine, right?
Well, sort of. We did start dividing the group into squads and stuff like that, but she still kept the role as the main leader of the group for a long time. And well, a long time, it was probably a year or something like that, but it felt like a long time back then. And she had some personal issues around a certain time there, and a lot of our leadership went inactive, and there was probably 3 of us left. It was Broomhead, Aishon and myself as a leadership. We were still a 50+ group.
50 plus in like 2010?
Yeah, I think it was around that time.
Dude, you guys started in 2009, then just made it to 50 in 2010. I'm just not used to that. These days, can you imagine that in 1 year? I don't know.
No. I mean, I think we were 55 as most.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but we were. It was the two lieutenants, Broomhead and Aishon, that were left active in a somewhat leadership role. They had Cortona above them, and under them we had what we called a triumvirate. Back then it was the 3 remaining squad leaders that had some sort of joint backup leadership. But I was the only one left in that, so it wasn't as much a triumvirate anymore. So we had some issues with activity, and no one really knew how to handle things because Cortona was the one in charge. And as soon as Cortona came back for a little while, we took a talk with her and said that we need to figure out a system for the leadership to exist even if someone goes inactive, and that was when we created the officer system. And the Broomhead and Aishon thought that I had done pretty much the same job as they had done at that point in time, so they wanted me included in officer system at that point also.
What made Cortana so qualified as a leader?
I have probably never met another person in Urban Dead nor in life that has been so passionate and so much of a driving force to create something big, to have this grand plan of uniting the Northwest. And driving us to do that, and I think that was what drove us to become. Yeah, passion. She was the power we needed to get the wheels rolling, so to speak. She formed us as a group and created the hierarchy and the mentality that we had. We operated a lot in Darwin Heights, and back when we were the biggest, around the 50 mark, we were split into squads, and she was the squad leader of one squad, and I was the squad leader of one other, and there was then 2 other guys, John Spyro and Reverend Ed Dooley, who were also squad leaders, and we sort of got our own small quadrants in Darwin Heights, and we sort of operated as some sort of small semi-group inside of the SoC. We had our own freedom to do as we pleased around these quadrants, and try to operate and keep them functional as best we could.
It's so interesting. Normally when I think of leaders, I think of someone commanding folks to do something, like you guys go over there and do this, you guys go over there and do this. But that doesn't sound like it was her style.
She had the vision. We were sort of the catalyst for that vision. We were the ones who worked to make it happen. She was probably more of a thinker than an actual leader per se. Thinker. She was more of she was a visionary. She was the one who saw where we should be heading as a group, and together we went there, or at least tried. But then again, she had maybe a bit too big plans also. She wanted to see a united Northwest pretty much under our banner, and that didn't turn out as
but it was a dream worth fighting for, right?
Yeah, well, you have to have some type of long-term goals and stuff like that. Even though it might have been a bit maybe a bit too ignorant to think that.
Or over-ambitious, maybe.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't really expect others to join in under your banner. If you're going to achieve something like this, then you should probably try to do it together with other groups rather than make people see that your group is the way to go forth. But it was at least something we had as a bit long-term goal, and it's a big part of how we became what we became. So.
Yeah, a little interesting piece of insight besides the fact that she wasn't a commander type leader. That's pretty cool. But the other thing was, it sounds like you guys weren't just focused around certain buildings like Kyger Mall, you were focused around certain quadrants. That's a pretty cool tactic.
Yeah, well, back then we focused on Darwin Heights because it was our home suburb and all that. We had the history there even before the Soldiers of Crossman existed. So
I'm looking at a map right now. Which quadrant do you remember being assigned to with the squad?
I remember I was the one who was in charge of Crossman Grove Police Department, actually.
That seems like it's dead center. What quadrant would that be considered? It's like dead center north.
I can't actually remember how it was split as, but we were 4 groups, 4 squads, so I guess it was
Probably
pretty much.
Yeah, just northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast.
Yeah.
Roftwood, we tried doing a squad type approach for a bit, but I'm not a commander type leader myself. I kind of like was trying to make a little game board out of different areas of Roftwood that I thought people should pay more attention to, and I had like Western Roftwood was like the Grimshaw zone, because there's just like literally 3 police stations and a freaking Necrotech in that one little stretch. It's a pretty prime piece of real estate. And then it was like the Hildebrand Mall zone, which is like another police station, a mall. Actually, it's really 2 police stations, a mall, a Necrotech, and a hospital. But I don't know, I'm just not that effective at organizing people. These days I don't care. It's just like, yo, whatever goes on in Roftwood, just... I kind of have that approach that Cortana had, where I just like have an idea of, yo folks, take care of Roftwood, and then whoever wants to show up and do what they do to take care of Roftwood, it usually kind of works out, whether folks want to heal or repair things or whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself the best tactician either. I'm more of a person who, I guess I have taken after Cortana quite a lot on that aspect. That I prefer to give you the idea of what we should accomplish, and those of you who are able to figure it out. So because that allows people to actually take a step forward, even if they aren't necessarily in a leadership position.
It lets people play the way that they kind of want to play, but gives them a general agenda to focus on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yo, just this area, this is what's happening, do what you want, please and thank you.
Yeah, well, the main point is that we are here to have fun, and if you don't have fun, if you just do as you're being told and you don't like it, then obviously you're sooner or later going to go inactive or leave the group. And I think that's probably why we managed to climb to the 50 numbers, because we allowed people to be themselves. Yeah.
Hello again, Roftwood. This concludes the first part of my series with my buddy and ally Frank Byrne, a veteran with the Soldiers of Crossman Pro Survivor group. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon. This RCC Fireside Chat is a post-apocalyptic production proudly presented to you by the Roftwood Coordination Center. I'm Zombie GG, and Roftwood, the pleasure's been mine. But it's fun hosting you guys for a dining hall, I guess is what I'm saying.